they were able to, you know, some parents or a lot of parents at the time were intentional because they had some sort of interaction with their children. So, like you said, being intentional is about you going the extra mile to get to know your child.
Unless you are redeeming yourself small. Because you know why I'm saying that? You see, so it's just like, sorry, I'll come back to you. It's just like what Uti would always say about what's it called, security, that we have a false sense of security in this country. We think we are safe. Yeah. But let something happen. A lot of our generations who are raising the current crop of children, was it not, oh, you were not in the makeup room when somebody was saying it, that it is our generation, our aunties that are raising this current generations, right? So look at so who raised them? Yeah. Who raised them? So we are saying, you can't say that our parents got it right. They didn't get it right.
They got some aspects right.
Like what?
They got some aspects right.
Wait, so Issy, let me tell you something.
There's a fear. There's fear. There's fear of it might. No, that one works. I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm not saying it doesn't work. See, a lot of us has missed opportunity because we were not things that we know now. Yeah. We were not put through it. Yeah. You know, some things that have happened in our life is based on our background or our, you know, and what is background? It's our family. It's where we came from. And a lot of the problem that a lot of us have today is basically our background that's giving us
the baggage.
The background that we have today. So I'm not saying that our parents didn't do, but we, you know, some of us were Christians, so we had that godly life, Christian values.
Can I even say, Bolaji, I think our parents, you know when they say you play kalu, you know, it was trial and error. Do you understand? Some people got it, some people missed it.
Yes.
It was not like they had, you say, how did that? They didn't get anything right. They were just trying. Some just turned out right. That is it. But there was no intentionality.
And there was a God value.
Do you understand? Of course, there was a God value. But you see, the thing about this saying that says nothing is new under the sun. Yes. Right? So everything that is happening today is not new. The only difference is this technology that we are seeing now. Yes. Because that is what exposes so many things that normally would have existed. I have so many stories to share, but you know what? Let's take a very quick break because we'd like to open our phone lines. When we come back from the break, we open our phone lines. I would love to hear your thoughts as well. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Businesses in Africa can be very challenging. In Nigeria, it is particularly intimidating, and successful builders have learned how to navigate a hostile environment to unlock opportunities. But one major challenge businesses face is how to filter through the noise and identify where their ideal customers exist. Get insight and practical steps from industry players and captains of industries. Hear success stories to help you make informed decisions as you scale your business in Nigeria. Watch Business Insights at this time on PlusTvAfrica.
All right, so if you just tuned in, it's our ladies' night out, and we're discussing how should parents raise children in this digital age. You see, we're coming for you now. Please, let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-8463. You can also tweet at us at WaysHowAfrica1 with the hashtag WaysShow. So I sat down. I'm not supposed to be saying this on national television. And I was analyzing how the kinds of games we used to play as children, Every and every. That we do. But you see, the only difference right now is that you can be playing that same game and somebody is carrying a smartphone and recording it. That was what was happening in that bedroom. Somebody was at the corner there recording.
I think they are doing Mama and Papa or something.
That's something we did not do. Is it from threesome to what's it called? Lesbianism? There is nothing. Do you understand? That's why I'm saying that the fact that we turned out right does not mean that some of these things we did not experiment with it. Right?
At what age?
So wait. So the only difference, when we were growing up, TV would start at 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
We didn't have any benchmark to see how it's done. I remember the first time I saw how to make love on Google. I almost imploded. I was gonna die that day. But guess what? The children that we have today, right? Any spark of curiosity, right? They would just go on Google.
Absolutely.
And they would search and they would get answers.
Absolutely.
So how should we start to approach? Because what I started doing with my kids, because again, I cannot say I would not give my child a smartphone. I'm sorry. I'm not one of those parents. But what I would do is to teach you how to be responsible
with it
when using a smartphone.
Absolutely.
So all this one that you're saying that, no, a child under this age should not get this education, it's not done that way. So I had a nanny one time, and the nanny used to lie a lot. And every time I come to the house, I'm entering the living room, she flips the channel. Do you know what made me sack her? I said I do not want a situation where my children, I'll be coming down, they hear my footsteps, they'll flip the channel.
Yeah.
It means that whatever it was that they were watching, mommy is not supposed to be aware that they are watching it.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So as little as those things and taking responsibility and owning their lives, I put their lives. You see, that's why I love that quote. My children, they know. I say, if you do, it's for you. If you don't do, it is for you.
Absolutely.
You have to be the one to make that choice, because if it comes from you. So a lot of parents, our parents instilled fear.
Yeah.
So we did a lot of things because, and that was why, remember Bolaji, our generation was the one that they will have a different attire for when they're at home. When they're at university, it's completely opposite. Madam will be wearing long skirts when she's at home. But when she's in the university, she's wearing bomb shorts. So would you call that they got it right? They didn't get it right. They were just creating sets of hypocrites, sets of hooligans, cowards. Sets of cowards, right? That could not say this is who I am and own it.
And
I would say this. I wasn't exposed to such children, basically. So I would say they got mine right. But however, I would look at it from another perspective, which is the fact that...
Were you a Christian? Were your parents into religion?
Yes. No. My parents weren't into religion, but they weren't pagans either. The key thing is, that's why I keep talking about values. What are the moral values that the child has been given? Yeah. So it's based on what you said, based on the values you give to that child. At the end of the day, that child is the one that is going to own it. So if you expose the child to internet. You expose the child to whatever sex education you want to expose the child to. If the child wants to experiment things without you actually, I keep saying it, I buy your emotions. Once I get your emotions, that is the ultimate. If you are a father or a mother and you do not bond with your child, you do not instill certain values into that child, at the end of the day, the child wants to do something in the future. The child will always go back and think about,
how will this make me feel?
If I do this, how will this affect mom or affect dad? Yeah. And I think that steers you away from fear.
Let me
respect.
Yes, that is yes, part of the values, family values. Yeah. But let me tell you something about this age. It's not as if parents are not doing what they're supposed to do, and I'm not going to vouch for every parent, but everyone that I know, I know what they do with their kids. I know what length they go for their kids. Yeah. But we keep forgetting that our kids meet other children that either their parents don't have the time, their parents simply thinks they're doing the best, but it's not the best for the child. And our children go there. I know that values are important, because that value is what you're trying to explain. And everybody's holding on to that. If we didn't have a good family value, I don't think we'll be
standing here today.
Where we are today. But what I want to add to what you're saying in this age is for parents to start giving examples of things happening. You're sending your child, you know, telling her this is the way, be good, be this, you remember the home you're coming from, we don't do this.
No,
but you know, the thing is, in this age that we know better now as a parent, we need to start giving an example. When you get to school, when you see them do threesome, let them understand that this is going on. Well, it's not about values.
Thank you.
That's
so you know that one. If they touch your breast, you go carry the leg. I say that the child will Google it. If somebody touches my breast, will I get pregnant?
It still comes to the character you have instilled in
that
child.
I'm not taking that away.
She's
from
not taking it away.
But
you have to be very realistic with the reality.
Absolutely.
This is the thing that parents didn't tell us. They rather tell us what. But now it's a new age. It's a new time. So you are
be as blunt as possible.
Be as open as possible.
Be blunt.
You know, and tell them that when you get to that hostel, when you see a threesome, or you are even hearing about, because some of these children probably sleeping and they're hearing sounds and they're wondering what's going on. And so let me tell you what happened in school. The curiosity is making a lot of children. Oh, why did you check pornography? Mommy, I heard it in school and I didn't know the meaning of it.
Absolutely.
And are you telling me that child doesn't have good family values? But if you had explained, I am telling you, family values now has to come with extras.
Thank you.
Has to come with examples.
I totally agree with you on
has
that.
to come with examples.
I totally
and
agree
we should
with
not
you on
forget that example has to be realistic example. Let them know there's threesome. Let them know that there's boy on boy and sex. Let them know what happened to this girl happens when children are helpless. You understand? Because I don't see reason why the school, it happened under the school, and that's where my problem is.
That's my problem as well.
They could have curtailed the video within the hour. So how did you allow that video?
How did you get out?
Let's even assume that the children, they are still children. Let's even assume that it took 1 hour before you realize what happened. You could still curtail a lot of things within that 1 hour. But you left it for a month.
Negligence.
What was the team that was put together? Was the hotel involved in the team of people that were discussing, that were involved? Because they would bring another children in and the thing might happen again. So for me, it's more than parents just giving out the family value. It's the background now. But we have to bring in the physical, realistic example. So when they encounter these problems, when they see it, they know. Is it that you tell me, no, what you just did is wrong. Yeah, what is wrong about it? And you know, let me tell you something about this kid. It's not about A1, A2, where in our case it was A1, A2, A3, C3. So for them, it's popularity. Who is more popular in school? And let me tell you something, popularity in this age doesn't mean you have A1, doesn't mean you have A2. It's about the social impact that you are bringing on. I'm seeing a child tell a teacher in the school and say that's my guy. Not because they're going out, but they know they can handle those teachers because, you know, they know how to manipulate those teachers. And the teachers will be like, parents don't want trouble, so let me leave them. But at the same time, we keep forgetting that these children are bringing on social impact. All this social media thing they're seeing more than their education.
We have a caller. Sorry, I think I've been keeping the person for so long. We are so sorry today. Hi, are you there? Hello, thank you for calling.
Yeah, Samuel.
Samuel, so sorry for keeping you. Go ahead, please.
You are going to pay for my drink.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, a quick one. We are in a age whereby you find 2 or 3 years old children operating your phone. How do you want to keep those phones away from them?
Let me ask you.
If your man made a point, and the truth of the matter is deep. Anyway, let me quickly give part of my own background. One, I've never posted anything like a secret before. I took it because of a friend.
Thank you.
Do you know
Pressure.
the idea of smoking? In my own era, you find by 4 o'clock, then, you can only tune into TV station by 4 o'clock. But this day, it's not like that. You are in the era of children learning coding at the age of 2-3 years old. Children learning ICT.
And you say you should not give them a phone.
From them. So we come to the solution. I think the solution is monitor your children. The girl in question, if we were to check all her activities on phone, she's not new on internet. She's not. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Samuel. So sorry for keeping you.
There's something called cyber safety, and it's a different ball game entirely from what we do. It's on, but a lot of, and that's what I'm talking about.
We're going to bring in confidence, right? The cyber security lady that we have, our in-house guru. We're going to bring it because I think we've talked about it before, but I think it's important to re-emphasize how you can put those locks and controls. But you see, where me idea, but I think we have another caller. Thank you for calling. You're live.
Yeah, good evening.
Hi, good evening.
You're welcome back. Almost a week.
It's not a week, it's 3 days. Thank you.
It looks like
welcome back.
It looks like 1 month.
But I want to be on the same lane with EC this evening. She was making a very valid point. For me, our parents did a good job with us.
Okay.
The proportion of parents that are raising failed children today, you must look at their background. As a parent, it's a psychological war you have with your children. Do your part, put them in the hands of God. Then thirdly, you must use the carrot and stick approach. You must be rigid when you need to be rigid, and you must be flexible when you need to be flexible. There's time for everything. The modern day parents that had the good upbringing of our parents, they compromise so easily these days, either by inferiority complex, or because of the environment they found themselves, or because they are not intentional to know that they are parents. They are kids, they are teenagers. From teenage age, they go to youth and they become adults. At every stage of every child's life, as a parent, you must groom that child to know that there's truth, there's what is right, and there's what is wrong. A half-truth is a whole lie. The parent of that girl that the video is trending has failed. There's no going saying about it. A lot of parents today, we compromise too much. Issy was trying to make a point. When we were growing up, a lot of the ladies today in their 40s and 50s, there are some certain things that 13 years or 10 years old girls are doing now that they couldn't do even when they were 18 or 20 years.
Peter, the question I want to ask you is, do you think our parents would have the success, in quotes, that you are claiming that they've gotten with parenting if they were the ones parenting at this age of today? Don't forget that there were no options then, right? There were no options. So you cannot really match it up to say that they were successful because we didn't have options.
You know, the digital age. You are teaching towards the digital age. Are we not saying there are wonderful and brilliant, successful children from good homes, even with this digital age that we have? There's time for everything. Why do you think that the Chinese have been able to censor certain things on the internet? In this part of Africa, we've tried to bring in Western life into our own culture. There are some certain things a child must do when he's 10, when he's 15, when he's 18, when he's 20, and when he's 30. We compromise too easily.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. So I like the argument because it gives room for a broader conversation. You know, I just like to compare apples and apples, right? Oranges and oranges, because me, I know that, okay, so for instance, while I was growing up, not just the grace of God, you understand? Because my parents would leave the house quite early because they had to go to work. And sometimes they don't come back home till like 11 p.m. at night. Do you get? So we didn't have a lot of options to, and because we were a lot, you know, it was easy for you to have like play mate with yourselves and all of that. But me, I know I can't even say it because she might be watching. I cannot say the number of things that we did. The fact that we turned out right, my mama will kill me this night. The fact that we turned out right, you understand, is just because, first of all, they were very prayerful and it was the grace and the mercy of God. But I'm saying that if that option was, if, for instance, that we had the access that this our children have today, hey, let me take another call. Sorry, sorry, we've been holding them down. Thank you for calling.
Good evening.
Hi.
Ua is back. You're welcome.
Thank you.
We don't miss you. We don't miss you.
Okay, good though.
Yes, you see, I think I called the other day and I was kind of hot with the whole thing. You see, it's kind of painful where you see parents lose it. You know that I said about parents and people were kind of, why am I on the parents? I said, trust me, it's what you mold that you get. Garbage in, garbage out. I still insist that parents need to calm down and understand that you cannot achieve everything in a second. You got to take this thing step by step. You cannot give your child in hands of another person, be it maid or anything, and you leave by 5 a.m., you come back by 11 p.m., and you expect things to be normal. It's impossible. In our days, why our parents succeeded is because they had time. I remember my mother used to be a trader. She leaves, but she make up time. Do you know that my mother don't come back unexpectedly? She will just come in the middle of the day to check around the area and see how we're doing and whatever. So I've told these people that, look, anything you provide for your child today, make sure you have full knowledge of that thing and you have access to it and you own it. E.g., if you're buying a phone for your child, you tell that child that we are going to create a password for the phone. And any app that you put that I don't have knowledge about, I'm deleting it. You create fear in these children. Now, what helped us those days? And from my Jekyll level, I'm a testimony of myself. In those days, we have community training, where you are more afraid of your neighbors than even your parents, because they will tell. These days, you see children, you know that was about the mother and they were saying something. I think yesterday I saw it on tabloids, the picture of the mom of that girl. Where the woman day as she did day. Forget that first one when she called the cry. You understand me? So things like that. A tree cannot fall far from its
an apple cannot fall far from the tree.
I mean, for me,
thank you.
Thank you so much.
There's a lot happening these days. Parents need to come back
and
to
they need to wake up. Yes. Thank you. Quickly.
I'm not going to. I actually love everything they talked about, but it's going to always be in the record. There will be people that will fail, and there will be people that will be successful. Whether we go back to 1920 or parenting, there are people that failed at that age. Whether we come to 1980 or parenting, there are people that have failed and there are people that have done well. My father has a big hotel, and we had to walk in there. So imagine who we were exposed to.
Yeah.
You understand? And it's so big that we have all the yakini coming in, and you have all kind of people. But the thing is, what will I take out from there? My dad was never alone because I didn't live with my mom. But there was just something he just keeps telling us, that whatever you're doing now, know that this is like when Yoruba say, is what a bird eats, that the bird will use to. It's whatever you're doing now. So we are a remnant. Whatever parenting we're doing now is a remnant of what we have gone through. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So the values and everything, I'm not saying they're all right. But that is what I'm telling you with, it's not a one-size-fits-all.
Yeah, you have to be intentional. Let me take a call.
And that's what I'm saying about intention, and that's what they are talking about.
Let me take a final call. Sorry, darling. You're live. Go ahead quickly. Hello, are you there? Did we lose the person?
Okay.
Hi, go ahead, Ogene. Go ahead, quick. You're live.
Oh, thank you. Good evening.
Hi.
Good evening.
So nice to speak to you finally.
Go ahead.
Okay. See, this whole scenario that we're surrounded right now, it's so disturbing. First, the children on their own part, I just feel they are just being unappreciative. These parents go out to work as hard as they can. Fine, it's unfortunate that, okay, we can't have it all. You can't go out there to work so hard and at the same time you have all the time. yes, the parents have their own faults too in terms of finding time for the children. Quite agreed. But as much as we can provide for them, why won't they just listen? There's no parent that wouldn't have laid basic rules that don't do this, don't do that. You still find that they will go out of their way just to please themselves.
Absolutely.
Then the next thing, you raise your hand, we'll hear the next thing, child abuse. After another abuse, they say raise me. Not in my head, correct.
Thank you so much.
Seriously, sometimes we need it.
Thank you so much.
We need it. I'm being honest. It's so disheartening. You can't go out there to work so much, and yet this is the payback you get as a parent.
It's true.
It's unfair.
Thank you so much, again. Sadly, we ran out of time, but quickly, I was going to say that I like the idea of what Isi was saying about buying into their emotions, because if you are able to gain your child an emotional connection, the child will always feel like, I need to please my parents.
I will say something that what parents need to understand. Self-discovery and children trying to discover themselves leads them to a lot of things. We need to teach children self-discovery as a parent. We need to teach them self-esteem. Self-esteem has made most of the children do those videos. See, let me tell you something. Because we are exposed to a lot of these schools and a lot of children. We've seen worse cases that parents don't know that children are exposed to.
Oh, wow.
So there's a lot of program going on. And I think people like Praise for Where has program going for children.
Absolutely.
If you can't do it by yourself,
look for the professionals.
Thank
you so much, ladies. Thank you, everyone. We're sorry we can't take messages. We ran out of time. But thank you so much, Bolaji. Thank you, Isi. Jennifer, thank you. She was there, but she couldn't hear us. All right, so before we go, ensure you follow us. Follow us on Instagram at PlusTvAfrica. You can interact with us further, drop a comment, and more importantly, follow all our engagements online. Like, share, invite your families and friends to watch and follow the conversation. If you missed today's quote, here it is again. Parents can only give good advice or put them on the right path, but the final forming of a person's character lies in their own hands. It's as simple as that. We'll see you guys live tomorrow at 8 p.m. as we bring another great conversation to your screen. Enjoy.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
The suspect equally confessed.
Now 500 naira they collect them. If you no talk, then go beat you. Now 2,500 and they pay.
It is engagement we need to have.
Those who suffer miscarriages are never taken into account.
Members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers.
You are sitting on Nigerians' money.
From the barbing, I pay my rent. On the barbing, I send my children to school.
A consultative engagement.
No any tangible notification before they ban us.
It's one thing for people to be at your back and the heat of the moment, and another thing for them to still be with you when push comes to shove.
I will do everything to take Lagos out of the national grid.
How can we have peace without justice?
Plus Politics. It's not just another political conversation, it's about keeping you in the know. The relevant interviews, asking the tough questions to those that matter. Get the answers you need. Does it mean that the people who were injured, people who were shot at, those who were involved in that stampede are not going to get justice?
It is unfortunate, it is sad that we have a government of deaf and dumb.
Analysis from top experts.
The last election was not really an election.
We feel that Obasanjo has a very special place in his heart for hating Ijaw people.
I think it really boils down to two things. One, trust and accountability.
Plus Politics, every weeknight at 7 p.m. on Plus TV Africa.
It for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Bookie November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Hello and welcome to Space and Style, a property show designed to connect various stakeholders across the property value chain. We can also provide realistic solutions and deepen your knowledge about the interesting world of real estate. We shall showcase architectural design, interior design trends, lifestyle and real-time property news updates, and the right way to navigate through property development and investment. Join me every week on this channel as I take you through an exciting journey in the world of real estate.
Space and Style, 6:30 p.m. on Saturdays and 5:30 p.m. on Wednesdays.
Today on The Breakfast, National Executive Council of the All Progressives Congress, APC, pegs 100 million naira as the cost for its 2023 presidential aspirant to obtain form, sparking mixed reactions among Nigerians.
Bandits kill 3, abduct several in simultaneous attacks in Dusun Remi community of Katsina.
Another sports update, Manchester United appoint Ajax boss Erik ten Hag as new manager to replace interim Ralf Rangnick at the end of the season. What lies ahead for the club?
And as always, we'll be reviewing the biggest stories making the headlines across our national dailies.
Good morning to you. Thanks for joining us. This is The Breakfast on Plus TV Africa. I am Justin Akadonye.
I am Messi Bopo. It's good to have you join us this morning.
Yes, it's Friday and we are thanking God as always. And I'm sure lots of people have great plans for the weekend. And Messi is doing something great this weekend, right? You're sleeping, you're resting, or you're going to the beach. That's something great. For me, I'll be going for a wedding.
Okay, that's fine. All the best.
More to say. Let's just slide into what's trending. The wife of the president, Aisha Buhari, is in the news, and this time around, she has invited the presidential aspirants to break fast. That's iftar. Mercy, this is something good, right? And from what we hear, the aspirants who are supposed to come are not supposed to come with their mobile phones, except for Vice President Yemi Osinbajo and right? Why are you going like that?
Because I don't. Because I don't know what's going on. I don't even understand what's happening in the country. But the truth is, this has also generated a lot of conversation in different spaces, and that's why we're talking about it. Some persons have said what is really going on, and they know that some persons will not. So there's been a comparison. They say it's protocol. It is protocol that when you have the president or you have the vice president and you have maybe the first lady. I really don't know where that's written. I can't categorically say because I'm not in Aso Rock, so I don't understand the happenings and the doings, in the presidency. But of course, it's been stated that if the president or the vice president or any other person was going to be hosting personalities, then they're not expected to come in with their mobile devices, right? But one would say if you're asking, that's because it's an event that's going to have a lot of persons coming. I really don't know what's the rationale behind not having, mobile devices around because it's the wife of the president. But some people are saying that there's a political undertone to all of this. It's just a disguise. If you remember, it's in public space. The wife of the president has not been very available in the Nigerian space. As a matter of fact, there are some quarters that have reported that the wife of the president has relocated from Nigeria since 2017. And that's it. No, you need to go check that. These are some of the reports that she's not been in Nigeria since 2017, and she usually just shows up. She had relocated with some of her children. She doesn't live in Nigeria. I really don't understand, but it's okay. It's not like there's anywhere in the Constitution that would say the wife of the president shouldn't. But I mean, one would just expect that if your husband is the president, then you should be, but beside your husband. Where else can you be if not in your own country? The Constitution does not make any provisional. I mean, there's no provision for the office of the first lady. No,
there isn't.
Yes, there's no constitutional provision for that, but by virtue of being the wife of the president.
Yes,
I mean,
morally,
it's just,
you have to be here. You are the first woman
this
of the
moral
nation.
conversation doesn't always lead us anywhere. So right now, with this particular one, I'm really surprised. For me, I'm asking, why would the wife of the president invite presidential aspirant, really? What is
She wants to have a tete-a-tete with them so they could actually, drive a conversation of maybe unity.
Why?
You're asking me
why?
Am I her spokesperson?
So I mean, this is some of the questions that I'm asking. I mean, it's been a lot
talk
of
about
thinking.
state of the nation, the polity, in
what capacity?
In what capacity?
If we're talking about breaking the fast, if you look at the activity surrounding it, it's a very spiritual activity. One would be thinking it should be.
Of course, most times when they break fast, they just they pray to break the fast after a long time without food and all of that. But on the sidelines, you could actually talk about what's going on in the country. Nothing stops you from talking about that.
So for me, I'm trying to dot the I's across the T's.
Since, from what we understand, let me even just read the people who have indicated interest, so you understand what would eventually fall out from them. So far, those who have indicated interest to contest the 2023 presidential election are the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, the All Progressives Congress National Leader Bola Ahmed Tinubu, former Governor of Anambra State, Peter Obi, and former President of the Nigerian Senate, Anyim Pius Anyim, and Bukola Saraki, then Nyesom Wike, David Umahi. We have like a blend of Christians and Muslims. Of course, the Christians.
So yes, it's a combination of everything. Now, with the
percent.
restriction on the mobile phones, do you also expect the Vice President not to come in with his phone?
No, the Vice President actually exempted from that. Yes,
the former president. How about the former president?
Don't ask me that. I didn't get the memo.
There's been a lot of conversation whether the former president, the former Vice President, to be precise, Atiku Abubakar, would be present there.
Yeah, he would.
Are you sure? Fingers acrost. I mean, I'm very interested.
Okay, from what was gathered, it will not apply to Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, governors and ministers as well.
So every other person, including the former vice president, which a lot of persons have queried. I mean, some people are saying they're not sure if the former vice president would be in attendance, but we're going to be monitoring.
Yeah, we will monitor and follow on
this
that
event,
story.
and of course, we'll bring you up to speed with what will be happening as it actually happens. But I'm really interested. I wish I could be part of that meeting. Just not very available.
So if you went in there, you go with some spy camera or something that could record.
Why are you trying to blow my cover?
I knew you said you find it interesting and not allowing you to use your mobile device. I'm sure you look for some spy gadget.
So you have blown my cover. It's no longer a mission, so it's cancelled.
So when you're talking, you come with your receipts, Abby. Let's move on. Also, the former president of Nigeria, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, is in the news, and this time around, he is calling for state policing. He is actually bothered about the issues of the state of insecurity in the country, and he is calling for state policing. This is not the first time the issue of state policing, has actually taken front burner. This time around, it is being renewed. Mercy. State policing, a lot of people have actually said one or two things concerning state policing, how it might be abused by the state governor, but other people are saying that if it's actually in place, the people, the residents will be able to actually take this issue of security, like they own it, like their own, and they'll be able to even monitor, police themselves better.
No, so you're very correct, because the argument that has been put against the use of or acceptance of state police is that we're not ripe for it. That's the argument. Now, you have the school of thoughts who say that if you look at the First and Second Republic, that the state police at the time was used as an instrument of terror by opponents. So in the First and Second Republic, and as such, we're not ripe and ready for it. Now, you also have this school of thought still saying that the state police will not be able to handle the issue of terrorism, and that's also another argument that's been put out by these persons who are arguing against it. But if you remember that we had a conversation yesterday, and in the course of this conversation, or within the week, we had talked about, some of our guests have talked about practicing federalism. I like not to use the word true federalism, because there's nothing like true federalism. It's
a Nigerian thing, it came up because we say we are practicing federalism in the country. At the end of the day, whether it's true or
so it's because we're not practicing federalism.
So that's why the true came.
You have the concept, and the concept feels like it's just within our political, sphere. We're the ones that coined this word, true federalism, right? So what's true federalism? Federalism is federal. We're not practicing it, and that's why
you're having with ourselves.
So, but if you look at it, if you look at the components of it, if you look at the characteristics of a federal system of government, then you understand that we're far from it.
Very,
we're
very far
not
from it.
doing what it is. But you see, for all of those persons who have made these excuses against the practice, there's no system, there's nothing entirely that's actually perfect or does not have, their flaws. So, because you can't actually want to wake up and say state policing is absolutely, the perfect solution. And you can also not say that state policing is not the perfect solution. So like I would say, there's no theory, there's no system that's actually perfect. But if we continue under this guise, we will never get any results. So what stops us from trying?
Maybe just jump into the, test the waters, as it were.
It's not a matter of even testing the waters. Okay. It's a matter of the fact, it's a matter of we not having strong institutions. Now, if you look at the argument that, governors would actually take advantage of these police officers or use the state instrument to begin to, carry out their interests and what have you, as has cited in the First and the Second Republic, you will find out that in the system as ours, we have we have a system where we have more strong persons rather than strong institutions. Those institutions are not strong. So we have weak institutions, and that's why you have an individual so powerful that they can control the institution. So if we get to a point where we have these institutions that are very strong, and these institutions are not just operated by spirit, they're operated by human beings. So you have structures that don't operate in space, but operated by persons. And so we need to get to a point where we have strong institutions. We can't constantly make all of these excuses. First of all, we're not a federating unit. It's in the books. That's what we are. We say it in the Constitution, but in practice, we're far from it. A Federal Republic of Nigeria, are we a federating unit? Because if we are, the issue of state policing, that's what I'm saying, is just in the books and not in, in its real sense. And why are we afraid of this? It's because we're not afraid of, challenging what it is. We have actually decided to build strong men. Strong. Why would a governor have would have control over it?
No,
the institution. Why would people be stronger than institutions?
In the Constitution, these things will need constitutional review over time, because the issue of governors being in charge, if the Constitution, although most times the laws actually are not being implemented, we know all these laws that we have in Nigeria, but most times the implementation is another issue. We could actually work around that, review the Constitution and the workings of the state policing. The United States of America that we try to follow, they are actually practicing, in quote, true federalism.
They're practicing federalism.
Their police, they have state police departments across, in as much as they do that, but they still have the federal police as well. But, the federal police only comes in situation, that is above the state, but general crimes and everything is done on the state level. And they've been doing well. I think we should actually just dive into it head on, if you ask me.
Because at the end of the day, it would be that you would have people who understand the terrain, who understand, you would use the local men, the people around, to police the community. And that's what it is, not the fact that you would have to. And then another argument that's been put out is the fact that resources. We're still grappling. We have a number of states that have not been able to pay the minimum wage. And so the argument also would be, will states be able to foot the bills? Would they be able to pay salaries? But if we practice...
They have to challenge themselves and try to generate
It's not a matter of challenge.
There
are a lot of states that are sitting on resources that are not being tapped because of the fact that, powers have not been devolved.
They go, cap in hand every month to FAC,
it's really sad
to get the allocation.
We have gone through a process of the constitutional review
stuff we talk about all the time.
in 2022, and, the part of this particular part has not been taken care of. The issue of having states being self-sufficient and sorting out their issues, because it would make everybody sit up. And the idea of everyone
They should borrow a lead from Lagos state government, because over time, Lagos, the way the policing or security system has been so decentralized, you find that almost everyone has a role to play. There's the network, neighborhood security watch. We have the OPC. Somehow there's still have the vigilante groups, and the Lagos state, there's a security trust fund, which helps to fund the police.
So all of these states, I mean, if you look at the constitution, it gives rights to governors to even speak to the commissioner of police. Usually the argument is you have governors saying that we're not in charge of. We're not in charge of the security architecture, but it's within the ambience, it's within the discretion of the Commissioner of Police to decipher whether or not what the governor has actually said is within justice. I mean, so to some end, they still have that control, but the Constitution, I mean, it's not it's not exclusive. It's not that they have this power entirely. So the CP would still have to decipher whether this is right or wrong.
He has to also report to the IG.
The concept about governors not being entirely in charge is not really true, because to some extent they have some control, but not entire control, and that's what the argument is. But we're saying that if we're a federating unit, what stops us from being a federating unit? What stops us from being a federal government, where have states controlling their resources, and you have them controlling, having state police where they can actually handle the issue. And like you have mentioned, if you need the consent of the federal government in cases they can handle,
the FBI,
then you can have the federal government come through.
All right, that's all for Top Trending right now. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be going straight to Off the Press in a moment, where we will be reviewing the front pages of major dailies in a moment. To join us again.
For upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Booking November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on PlusTvAfrica.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Nigeria's Niger Delta region, from where the black gold fuels Africa's largest economy, where the lines between wealth and poverty has never been thinner. Conflicts, poverty, insecurity, and environmental challenges daily confront the region. How can the Niger Delta story be changed for the better?
Join Mamude Akuga at 9 p.m. every Friday evening on PlusTvAfrica as he probes deep in search of solutions.
Inside the Niger Delta with Mamude Akuga, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region.
we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
He suffered equally confessed.
A 500 naira they collect them. If you no talk, they go beat you. Now 2,500 when they pay.
It is engagement we need to have.
Those who suffer miscarriages are never taken into account.
Members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers.
You are sitting on Nigerians' money.
From the barbing, I pay my rent. On the barbing, I send my children to school.
A consultative engagement.
No any tangible notification before they ban us.
It's one thing for people to be at your back and listen to the moment, and another thing for them to
Welcome back to The Breakfast on Plus TV Africa. It's time for us to take you through the pages of our national dailies. We call it the news of the press. Of course, it's a newspaper review. And we have joining us in the studio this morning, Emeka Madu Nago. It's good to have you join us. He's a public affairs analyst.
We also have joining us via phone, G.D. Johnson, Chief Lecturer at Nigerian Institute of Journalism. Good morning to you, JJ.
Good morning, Mercy. Good morning, Justin. And good morning to Emeka, my friend.
Yes, long
and
time.
And good morning to our
All right, let's take a look at the Leadership newspaper. We'll start off with the Leadership. We need state police to tackle security challenges. Former President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Olusegun Obasanjo, is quoted on that, and it was part of a top trending conversation. Underneath, as President Muhammadu Buhari orders security chiefs to rescue all abducted Nigerians, asks them to sit up. I mean, it feels like we have been going through this instructions. The president has summoned, the president is shocked, having meetings, but that hasn't really translated to actual results. We won't shift 2023 elections over insecurity. INEC has actually stated that feels like they're having, two sides of the divide. Strike, you have the ACF offers to mediate in federal government ASU dispute. Aisha Buhari hosts presidential aspirant to breaking of the fast, bars use of phones. Flood, FCTA demolishes 400 houses in Gwarimpa, that's in Abuja. And just before we move away from the Leadership this morning, autonomy, local governments are not governor's pot of soup. That's how the Labour says it. I mean, it really sounds very, very interesting. But these are the headlines this morning on the Leadership newspaper.
All right, we'll move on next to the Nation newspaper. The lead story on the Nation this morning: Buhari orders a rescue of hostages with kidnappers. With two writers there, NSA, why we are not deploying technology. Obasanjo, OK, State Police dismisses community policing. 2023, 1 million INEC officials for 176,846 polling units. PDP APC clash over 100 million naira nomination fee. Boko Haram kills 12, raises school buildings. IG's hometown attacked. NACON allocate 33,976 Hajj slots to states and FCT. US OK's Dropbox service for Nigerian students. And just on the red strip below, Jonathan's posters flood APC Secretariat. IG vows to deal with killers of policemen. Those are most of the stories on the front page of the Nation newspaper.
Let's move away from the Nation newspaper this morning. We take a quick look at the Punch newspaper. Now, on the Punch, INEC to spend 239 billion naira on poll materials, presidential runoff. That's boldly written there. INEC always prepares for runoff. First presidential bailout may not produce winner, REC is quoted. Electoral Commission budget, $5.39 per head. Projects 100 million voters in 2023 elections. 10 items constitute 78.44% of 305 billion naira budget. Insecurity cannot stop polls, the chairman is quoted to say. Now, these are the writers underneath the caption. PDP extends sale of farms for time, woes APC chieftains. Aisha Buhari invites Atiku, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and you also have Vice President Yemi Osibajo. Saraki orders. High food prices will continue in Nigeria. Orders till 2023. The International Monetary Fund is quoted. I'm sure there might just be an interest. Reps alleges cover-up on refineries and summons carry orders. And just before we move away from the Punch newspaper, State Police better way to tackle insecurity. The former Vice President Olusegun Obasanjo is quoted on that. And I take this one. Buhari orders rescue of abducted train passengers, says NSA. There are several interesting headlines here, but for the want of time, we'll probably just take one and move away. Excuse on Joshua Darie and Jolly. Pardons is lame. CSO tackles the presidency. These are some of the headlines on the Punch newspaper this morning.
Almost all the papers are leading with insecurity as their banner headlines. To the Daily Independent, it captions it this way: insecurity, state police now a better option. Obasanjo. Just below the pictorial there, Buhari asks security agencies to rescue abducted victims. Terrorist attack Yobe town, kill 22, burn schools. IGP decries attacks on police facilities in Southeast, rejigs operation. APC 100 millionaire presidential form bias should be probed, or form bias should be probed. That's according to Yochayu. More Nigerians are getting mad. Red Cross, wow, that's shocking. Red Cross cries out. Lassa fever claims 7% in Kogi State. Above the masthead, Nigeria, IMF disagree again on exchange rate management. Right, and there's also a story on Google there. Those are the main stories, but just before we leave it, we will conduct 2023 elections despite insecurity that's attributed to the INEC chairman. Those are all of the stories on the front page of the Daily Independent newspaper this Friday morning.
All right, let's get straight to the crux of it this morning. We start off with we need state police to tackle security challenges. The former president is quoted. We have Maduka in the studio. Amika, I beg your pardon.
Yes.
How do you... It's good to say Maduka. How do you react to this?
Well, interesting headlines. It's surprising that that ex-president Olusegun Obasanjo has suddenly woken up to the idea of state police, something that he vigorously kicked against. I mean, it only shows you that our leaders don't take, I mean, the distance, they keep a distance, from the people. There's a kind of dissonance, disconnect, dissonance, call it whatever, between them and the people. Why they live in that cocoon? They put themselves, they hide in a bubble and they just ignore the challenges, the pressing challenges. The same Obasanjo, when Mbadnuju set up Bakassi Boys in Anambra, he could have called him and said, okay, this is a good idea. Well, how can we make these things better? You kicked against it. When Tinubu was governor of Lagos State, you withheld local government funds. But around that time, Tinubu set up LASMA, set up other Kai and the rest of them. All these things were to help the regular police to keep the society sane and orderly. But what did you do? You did all you could to frustrate them. Now you're talking about state police. Well, the horse has left the stable a long time ago because some state governments actually have set up things that look like state police. Yes, like state police. Like in Lagos, you have the neighborhood LNSC. You have, in Anambra State, you have the Anambra Vigilante Services. You have in Ogun State, you have Vigilante Service of Ogun State. In different places, you have some of these things. But the point is, you've seen the Attorney General Malami fighting against states, trying to set up such outfits. Look at what he did with Amotekun. So, you see, we must entrench true federalism, the practice of true federalism in this country. We have to stop joking about it because you just continue to pretend that with the federal police, with civil defense, that everything will go well. But there's a limit to what these people can do. Then the same Obasanjo talking about dismissing community policing. How do you operate state police without community policing? In the United States, you have the county police, you have police at different levels in different countries. So people don't just move into, these criminals are not ghosts, these terrorists are not ghosts, bandits are not ghosts. When they move around, people see them. But the people have to have confidence in the security agencies, that if they volunteer information, that it will not be passed on to criminals who will turn around to come and kill them and destroy their properties. That is the major problem. The security services need to be purged. You see that all this crime, banditry, and the rest of the terrorism persists because there are people who have seen this thing as a business and that it must continue. You see the president saying that security, that the service chief should sit up. What kind of counsel is that? Is he telling them to do their jobs? Does your management beg you to do your job? Do my wife and children beg me to be a responsible father? It is unfortunate. We have leaders who don't want to be responsible.
All right. Let's get G.D. Johnson's comment concerning that, because almost all the newspapers this morning took that particular caption as their lead story. What's your position? What's your take on this? We need state police to tackle security challenges that the former President Olusegun Obasanjo is saying in the wake of the regional security network, Amotek, and the Ebubedike in the southeast. So how exactly do you reason all of this, G.D.?
It's only a fool that does not change his mind over time. Every one of us and those listening to us, I'm not sure the view they held 20 years ago is the same view they are having now, 20 years after, with respect to some certain things, with respect to some latest information. And nation grows over time, developmentally.
Jude, you still there?
Now is the time.
Jude, are you there? We seem to be having audio connectivity issue with Jude. We'll try and reconnect with him. There are other stories that we should look at. Emeka, let's talk about the president's wife, Aisha Buhari, who is in the news, and she has invited presidential aspirants to iftar, and there is more like a clause there, or proviso, if you may, she is asking them not to come with their mobile devices. What does all of that tell you?
Yeah, of course. It tells you that she wants to discuss certain things that she wants to keep private. But I wonder, first of all, there is no office of the First Lady. Mm-hmm. Even President Muhammadu Buhari made that a campaign promise that there wouldn't be, that he wouldn't have, he wouldn't allow the office of the First Lady to operate. But now we see aides appointed for the First Lady. We'll see all kinds of things around the First Lady. We'll see activities that are unconstitutional around the office of the First Lady, be that as it may. Now, stretching it to the point of inviting presidential aspirants to a meeting. I think the thing is that some of these leaders, they take the people for granted. They take their powers. They take whatever powers they assume they have, whatever influence they assume they have, they take them too far, and they think Nigerians are foolish or stupid. On what basis is she inviting presidential aspirants? Is it to tell them not to run, or to tell them that, okay, we have this, the husband was saying on Wednesday that there won't be consensus. Are you not trying to tell them that there will be consensus? All right. And her husband belongs to the APC. Why are you inviting presidential aspirants from PDP, ADC, SDP, and why? What's your business with them? The presidential aspirants right now should be talking to members of their parties, to delegates of their parties who will vote in primaries in the next 1 month, not attending some funny kind of meeting. I think they should all boycott it, because it's ridiculous to say, where is she going to get the funds to host those people? I'm saying they should not come with their phones. Shows that there is a lot to it that meets the eye. They should just ignore that if she has anything to do. Maybe something in the public, maybe that has to do with women, the girl child, and all that. You organize a conference, an open conference, and then invite them. Let Nigerians attend. Let journalists be there. Let people see what you have to tell them, and let people also hear them. But inviting them into the closet, I think they should just reject it. It's unacceptable.
All right. Let's hope we have G.D. Johnson back via phone. G.D. Johnson, are you with us? Unfortunately, we're unable to connect with G.D. Johnson, but we're back to you now in the studio. And on the Punch newspaper, you have IMF. I mean, the IMF has been speaking recently about Nigeria. They're very concerned.
They keep speaking about Nigeria.
And I'm wondering why. You know, the
why. Well, Nigeria is a big stakeholder in Africa, so and in sub-Saharan Africa and among developing nations. So attention must be focused on Nigeria.
Now, so yesterday, one of the concerns for the IMF was that the issue of subsidy was on the high. I mean, it would actually not lead the economy. It was bad for the Nigerian economy at the end of the day. Now, today, we're also having this report saying that high food prices will continue in Nigeria others in 2023. This is according to a report from the IMF. And how do you react? And why do you think, okay, you have actually mentioned that, but it's okay to go ahead. Constantly, the IMF seem to be very interested in Nigeria. Is this something we don't know?
Apart from being development partners in progress with Nigeria, I think the IMF and World Bank also overreach themselves. Because we don't, you see, that tag, developing nation, makes us feel we can just take instructions from anywhere. Yes, the fact that we go to them to ask for loans and all of that, these are things we're going to pay back. We're not asking for, but the problem there, the mix there, is that we continue to ask for aid, for grants, even for things that are within the ability and purview of the government. So IMF feels it can dictate. Does IMF dictate to the US? Does IMF dictate to other countries, to so-called developed nations? No. But the point is, telling us that food prices will remain high is just like preaching to the choir. We know. We know what the problems are. We know what the problems are. For years, it's been about bad roads, insecurity. A lot of farmers have left their farms. Look at a place like Shiroro in Niger State. That's where banditry, terrorism in Niger State started. That's where these people started. And then from there, they moved to Kaduna and other places. Now, they have driven a lot of farmers out of their farms, from Gwada and other areas like, around that Shiroro, that where you have the Shiroro power station. They've driven these farmers away. Why won't food prices be high? The roads, do we have good road interconnectivity? No. So the point is that we should talk to ourselves. We should make our nation more secure. We should make our nation better so that we don't have foreigners who come and sit in posh hotels and be writing reports. Do they go to the farms? Ask them. How do they know that food prices will remain high? Do they go to the markets? Do they go to the farms? They just appoint some people as advisors or resource persons. And those ones will go around, whatever they bring. How do you filter what these people say? You have the National Bureau of Statistics, but people, even government officials, have had reason to disagree with some of their statistics and some of their recommendations. Yeah. What we need is this: we need to get serious as a nation.
But our food price is not high.
They are high, of course. They have not just started going up. Food prices for more than the past, let's say, 6 to 8 years, have been high. There have been times when NUPENG, National Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers, went on strike because why? They said the roads were bad. And their members were dying in accidents and were being killed by armed robbers. You've had such situations where truck drivers went on strike because they said the roads were bad. So that's a major problem. Then you now have banditry. You have banditry, you have cattle rustling, you have criminals going into the farms to kill. You also have the menace of herdsmen going into the farms to kill farmers. And the farmers, they run away. Now that's why you see so many young people from other parts of the country going into riding Okada. These are people that should be in farms. But because they don't have a safe environment to farm, so they've run away from those places and come to Lagos, where, of course, they can ride Okada safely, move around and get some money, and move along with life, take care of their families, send some money back to their families. You see what is going on in Kaduna State and other places, kidnapping poor people and saying each person should bring 20 million naira. When they don't bring the money, you kill them. This is brigandage. And it is unfortunate that nobody has been punished for this. It's unfortunate. The National Security Advisor remains there, just talking, blowing hot air, telling us we will do this, we will do this, we will do this, we will do this. And all the pot shots are directed at the president because he's the commander-in-chief. But they will now tell you, okay, all right, the president has said so. But what? If you know you don't have the right environment to work, then resign. So that people are courageous to do the work. We'll get in there.
Okay, let's bring in Jide Johnson. We understand that we have him back on the line. Jide Johnson, thanks for staying with us.
Justin, I've been following your conversation as well.
Okay, so let's get some of your comment from all that we have said so far.
Well, on the Obasanjo call for state police now, I think it's appropriate. Nigeria is ready for it now. It's evidently clear that we are ready for it. On telling us that there are food prices, and there will be hike in food prices. It is a global problem. It's not only in Nigeria. I'm not thinking spoken about the hike in gas prices, gasoline prices in the Western world with respect to the effect of the Russian-Ukraine crisis. And it's only Africa they talk about, but if you look at what Emeka said, with respect to the challenges we have with banditry that has sent away the farmers, and with respect to the farmers' elders clashes we had for many, many years until it abated to a certain degree. And then the implications of COVID-19 lockdown. Everyone, you don't need rocket science for anyone to tell you that then there will be issues with respect to food supply, coupled with the fact that we don't have good storage facilities. Our problem in Nigeria is not production. Our problem has to do with distribution and storage of these food products that we have in our country. So that's just my view. And that if we improve our transportation system, improve our logistics, improve our storage facilities, and we deal with these challenging security issues that are taking away farmers away from the land, I'm sure what IMF is saying will not obtain in Nigeria.
All right, let's get back to the studio here where we have Emeka Madu Nagu, who is here with us this morning. And on the Punch, we still get back to the Punch. It talks about INEC to spend 239 billion naira on poll materials and presidential runoff. You also have INEC saying that, despite the insecurity situation, they are still going to go ahead. There was a certain time where INEC came out to say, hey, we're not even sure about the 2023 elections if the insecurity situation persists, but, it's a different conversation right here. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah. It's interesting in a season when nobody is paying attention to ASU, SANU and NASU, that preparations for elections are just going on smoothly, as if we are living in El Dorado. Yes, INEC is a statutory agency of government saddled with the conduct of electioneering and elections. All right, but politicians in Nigeria usually pander to their own interests. Whatever will favor their interests is where they put their minds, they avert their minds to. Now, elections are coming. You see all the preparations and everything going on. You will see towards the election, suddenly, it will be as if herdsmen never existed, as if bandits never existed. Everywhere will just go calm. You now wonder, where did all these people suddenly disappear to? So it's as if they have a kind of a magic wand, which they use on. You saw what Jonathan did now when he was president. He postponed INEC postponed the election by 6 weeks. And suddenly Boko Haram was defeated and all of that. What we need now is that when we are spending money on elections, we should also take into consideration social services, education, security, other areas. There are more pressing problems than elections. And again, I think the cost of our elections have gone too high. Something needs to be done about the cost of electioneering and the conduct of elections in Nigeria, because spending 239 billion, I wonder how the nation copes with all these huge budgets every election cycle. And don't forget, in between you have elections in states and maybe some constituencies. So the point is that yes, INEC will do its duty because it has a constitutional role to play. But I think something needs to be done about the cost of holding elections in Nigeria.
All right, Jude, let's get your comment concerning that. Emeka has his mind about the cost being too high and that the government should be focusing on other social issues. How do you reason?
INEC said he projected
239
million votes.
Okay.
For the presidential election. The last election was not up to 30 million votes because you are making a projection. It's based on statistics, it's based on available data. In 2019, what was the total vote cast for the presidential election? In 2015, I'm not sure we have gotten to the threshold of 40 million in the last 20 years that we've had election. How can you jump statistically from less than 30 million in 4 years to 100 million? And then if you look at the budget was based on their projection. So it's just wastage. It's just an opportunity for them to just waste our resources. I have said it, let them share this money to us. And we share the money. And then let them continue to rule. Just look at the amount of money we have spent on election and the deliverables of result we are getting from governance. You see that we have wasted public resources. It would be better for us to spend this money towards the that to waste this money. But like Emeka said, we didn't care about us. Everything will work out fine once there is time for election. What is the difference between PDP and APC? And what business does the wife of the president has to invite presidential aspirants to attend? Any one of them that attend is unserious. One, because she does not have the power. Two, she does not have the moral right. He doesn't live in Nigeria. He's not in, as far as we are concerned, he's just a visitor to Nigeria. And all of a sudden, he came to Nigeria to invite them. That they should come and do what? And then they shouldn't come with their phone and the rest of it. Absolute nonsense.
All right, Jide Johnson, let's stay with you, but this is on the Daily Independent. It talks about the APC and the 100 million presidential form buyers, saying they should be probed. I mean, this has gotten a lot of Nigerians talking, and some persons have said it's a party affair. The parties actually have the right to decide and, do whatever it is that they chose to do. But it's really interesting, like we have stated. Sometime in 2014, prior to 2015, the president was very concerned about, this presidential ticket that was pegged at 27.5 million naira. And now you have the APC with 100. Are you saying that anyone who buys this form should be probed? What do you think?
It is just the sheer hypocrisy of the APC and the APC-led federal government. Well, 100 million to 100 million protection of INEC voters. You could see that the balance. Why should someone pay 100 million to buy nomination for political party? There are ways in which political parties could generate revenue, because I've listened to some people that where do we expect the parties to make money to run their affairs and however, at whose expense? Who can afford 100 million? Now, one of the things they've also done is to shut out people that do not have access to public funds to contest election. Let me break it down for you. Now, it's because you are looking at the presidential election. Let's start from the House of Assembly. 2 million. Now, someone wants to aspire for the House of Assembly to represent his constituency, state for state. He's going to pay 2 million. Someone is going to House of Rep. He's going to pay 10 million. Now, in Lagos State, you have 24 House of Rep members. 24, if you only have 24 aspirants, which you never, invariably you not have, let's say 3 times 24 aspirants in Lagos, that's 72. 72 times 10 million. Now, the money goes to the National Secretariat and not the State Secretariat. There's something fundamental with the structure. It's not even about the money. There's something fundamental with the structure of our party system. And that is what is fundamentally wrong with governance in Nigeria. That's just my take.
Much later, and since we will be having you on that segment, but let's look at some other issue that is giving me concern right now. It's about mental health of Nigerians. More Nigerians getting mad. Red Cross is crying out. What does this really tell you?
Are they getting mad or they're
Well,
well, we need to, there are dimensions of mental illness. Not necessarily about seeing people walking naked on the streets or half-clad on the streets. A lot of people are actually suffering from depression because the times are hard, the economy is hard. So couples take out the tension on each other, they take it out on their children. Just imagine a young couple wanting to get married and the bill set before them. They have to take loans here and they may take them 3 to 5 years to pay off those loans. So you see those things could put pressure on them and they get depressed.
On another level now, should they take all those loans just to get married?
You see, these are two people love each other. What do you want them to do?
Go above their own means.
You see, that's the problem with the funny things we value in our society. That if my children don't organize a lavish wedding, then what will my friends say? What will my colleagues say? What will my associates say? But we need to begin to cut down on a lot of things that put pressure on people, particularly the young ones. The youth constitute 60% of the population of Nigeria, and a lot of them are unemployed. Nowhere for them, nothing for them to do, and nobody cares about them. So what do you find? They have to find a way to get their hours, to make their hours productive, and they get into all kinds of things. Then you have, NAFDAC is now trying to cut down on the proliferation of alcoholic drinks because these things harm the internal organs, even the brain. But you find out also NDLA is doing a lot in terms of bringing down drug abuse. You just saw, which day was it that NDLA broke into a party somewhere in Abuja, a cannabis party. And some people were trying to launch a psychoactive drink at that party. You even have cookies laced with drugs. Okay, so it's unfortunate that some people have now taken up the business of trying to run their fellow Nigerians into mental illness. Not necessarily madness, but that's why I said there are stages of mental illness. Yes, the economic situation in the country, yes, people are depressed, loneliness and all of that. Those are, that's one side of it. Then when couples lose their jobs, 9 million people lost their jobs between 2015, the back-to-back recession we had in the country. So of course, that will put pressure on people. Then look at domestic violence. It's another problem. That's an offshoot of what they're talking about. A man beating his wife, for what? When you trace it, a lot of it boils down to finance. It's not as if it's justifiable, but these things are happening. Now, what is the government doing? Red Cross is an NGO, it's a non-governmental organization. It has pointed the way out, but you will see now government will come out to deny and say, no, it's not that bad. You see, we are doing this. What are you really doing? There must be programs to rehabilitate people. There must be policies. The major problem we have in Nigeria is not the absence of activity. You see government officials, they're always active, they're always busy around so many things. But where is the policy? What's the policy driving all these activities? No policy. So at the end of the day, when one government leaves, it's as if that government never did anything at all. Another government comes up. So every time they keep patching, they keep doing roads. What is the policy driving all those things? There must be a broad-based policy. Yes, NDLA is working, NAFDAC is working, but those are just shots in the dark. There must be an all-encompassing policy, bringing these agencies together to say, wait a minute, we have a serious problem. Look at what Red Cross has put down. What are the things causing all this? How can we, at the federal, state, local government level, and even at the family level, how can we ensure that this thing does not go out of control?
All right. Okay, Jide Johnson, you want to comment before we round off this session?
Well,
hello, Jide.
Yeah, Justin.
Yes.
I agree with Jonathan in totality. I agree with him.
All right. Thank you so much, Jide Johnson. He's agreed to all that you have said concerning the issue of Nigerians running mad. Jide, just before we round off this particular discourse, there's a story on the the leadership Friday. It's still on the ASU strike. I just want to get your comment. I know we're almost sounding like broken records over this particular issue, but strike ACF offers to mediate in federal government and ASU dispute. Do you think right now mediation is what that we should be looking at, or just what are the main preferable solutions to all of this so we can have a lasting solution on this ASU matter? Jide?
Just imagine if federal government has devoted the same attention to the election. And the make it available to INEC every now and then. And they make it available to the private sector. I'm not sure we have this that we're having now. It's just for us, all stakeholders, the federal government, National Assembly, the ministries and agencies in the Ministry of Education to pay attention to this, for us to give what is required for the educational sector, because the growth of our nation is tied to the investment that we put in the educational sector. Because the educational sector is where innovation, creativity that drives the economy comes from. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Jide Johnson, Chief Lecturer, Nigeria Institute of Journalism, and of course, Emeka Madonagu. He is also a publisher. He's a journalist as well, and he's an analyst. He's still here with us. That's as much as we can take on this particular discourse. But we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll be looking at the APC NEC meeting, all of the fallout from that, the 100 million naira nomination form, and all the matters arising in a moment. Do join us again.
How can we have peace without justice?
Plus Politics. It's not just another political conversation, it's about keeping you in the know. Relevant interviews, asking the tough questions to those that matter. Get the answers you need. Does it mean that the people who were injured, people who were shot at, those who were involved in that stampede are not going to get justice?
It is unfortunate, it is sad that we have a government of deaf and dumb.
Analysis from top experts.
The last election was not really an election.
We feel that Obasanjo has a very special place in his heart for hating Ijaw people.
I think it really boils down to two things. One, trust and accountability.
Plus Politics, every weeknight at 7 p.m. on Plus TV Africa.
on Plus TV Africa. We're looking at politics right now. The National Executive Committee, NEC, of the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, has fixed the cost of its presidential expression of interest and nomination forms at 100 million naira. The spokesperson of the party, Felix Morka, disclosed this at the end of the emergency meeting of the NEC on Wednesday in Abuja. He said the expression of interest form is 30 million naira, while the nomination form will cost 70 million naira. So far, about 10 aspirants have declared interest to be the flag bearer of the party for the 2023 general elections. Those who have declared interest include ex-Lagos State Governor Bola Tinubu, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, the Minister of Transportation Rotimi Amechi, and the Minister of Labour and Productivity Chris Ngige. Others are Governor Yahaya Bello of Kogi State, his counterpart in Ebonyi State, David Umahi, former Imo State Governor Rochas Okorocha, former Senate President Ken Nnamani, among others. This has generated mixed reactions from Nigerians, from the high cost to corruption and all of that. But joining us now on this conversation is the publisher of Metro Star, Emeka Madunago. He's been with us since off the press. But let's talk about all of that now. Thanks for staying with us, Emeka.
Thank you very much.
All right, how do we even start this particular discourse? Lots of reactions have trailed this 100 million naira nomination expression of interest of the APC for the presidential ticket. Even the PDP has its own reaction, and Nigerians are saying the political party is now more like a business concern, and they're more interested about what they can make from the party as against giving enough people, the threshold and the opportunity, to exercise the franchise of being able to contest. What are your thoughts, Emeka?
Well, it's interesting because politics is one major business we do in Nigeria. It's a big business. So it's the big players that go into politics. So even you have 18 political parties. I don't know why people are so focused on one political party, what they are doing with themselves. It's a family affair, like the PDP. I'm even surprised the PDP is even responding, because theirs is just a little away from APC. Then after the PDP, you have SDP. After the SDP, you have ABGA. You have ADC. Just removing fractions, just removing some figures away. So what's the difference? I mean, the point is, they are trying to just tell us how lucrative politics has become in this country. And we need to really have a conversation about extracting productivity from this. Like I told you, government officials are really usually very busy, but not productive. Largely non-productive. So ensuring that the resources available to them for different kinds of things turn out, can be accounted for in the kinds of policies and outcomes we see from their activities. And it's also interesting because these elections will bring out a lot of new things. Remember, President Muhammad Buhari said he asked the youth to hold on, for him to finish, so that before they start pushing not too young to run. So you now see young people. I saw one on your screen, one 38-year-old, Ogochukwu, somebody. Then you have different people coming out, women also coming out. You also have the governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello, telling you that, tell Nigerians that he is the voice of the youth. He's experienced, he's been in government, he's been a governor for going to 8 years. So he knows the problems of the youth. He knows the agenda of the youth. He can push it. You have Asiwaju Bola Tinubu telling you that, okay, it's been a lifelong ambition. He wants to serve Nigeria. You have Vice President Yemi Osinbajo telling you that, okay, I will continue from where President Buhari stops. And Nigerians are saying, we don't understand this kind of. Some people say it's a threat. Well, these are interesting times. And you have ministers, you have other kinds of, even senators, Ojuzo Kalu, Then in the PDP, you have Anyim saying he will continue from where Jonathan stopped in 2015. That's 7 years ago. So all kinds of, you have different ideas coming up. So if the APC decides to say 100 million, what it means if you permit me to play the devil's advocate, is that this is serious business. We want serious contenders to come forward, not jokers, not people who will come and say, okay, I want to run for president, and then along the line they say, okay, my family and community have prevailed on me to step down for this person, and it becomes a joke, even though that's what politicians do. But for you to put down 100 million is a big business. Then to the other side, Nigerians should also get ready to ask questions. Where is all this money coming from? So again, it's one political party out of 18. So like I've said, if you know your interest cannot be factored into what these political parties are doing, one political party is doing, you have 17 others. If you can't afford the fees of the PDP, which is half of that of the APC, all right, try the SDP, which is a bit away from PDP, or next door is ABGA, next door ADC. Just little sums. Some parties are saying, come and take forms free, but I wonder how that will work out, because you have to process the forms. You have to pay certain fees to process these forms. So it's beyond looking at the forms, at the cost of the forms, I'm sorry. We should look at what each of these candidates which of these aspirants, is bringing up. What are the current issues? Because if we get lost in the debate about the cost of forms and all of that, we allow the real issues to slip by.
So what are the real issues?
You have security. You have youth. I talked about youths before. Youths and women, inclusiveness, youths and women. You have food, hunger. Hunger is a major problem. Then none of our refineries is working. In fact, has produced a drop of oil. Maybe in the past, I don't know how many years, has produced a drop of oil. Then you have infrastructure. Even though President Buhari is telling you that infrastructure is the strongest point. But a lot of Nigerians will still tell you that the roads are largely not what they expect them to be. So when we put up all these issues, then we need to also look at the track record of the contestants, of each of them. Nigerians are telling you that, for instance, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has been a part of the Buhari administration. So they don't even want to hear anything about Buhari once he's gone. Let him just go with everybody around him. But you also have ministers who have been a part of this administration coming out to say, well, all right, we will make things better. Then you have Tinubu, who is coming to say, no, I will restructure things, I will change things, I will make things better. Fine. Then you have, I'm still talking of the APC. Yes. Then you have somebody like, you have Ojikalu coming out to tell you that, okay, I will make sure that Nigerians have a better deal. He's not been talking too much about continuing with the legacies like some other candidates. Then you have Yaya Bello, who is trying to keep a distance from all that. I will continue with Buhari's policies and all that. Coming out to say, okay, as governor, I have put in youth, women, even people with special needs. I have been able to secure my state, keep my state secure. You know, a state that has borders with 10 other states. I've kept my state secure. I've been able to serve my people, even though people say, well, we still have areas to cover up. Yes, no, there's no perfect system. Okay. So when you look at all these issues, look at the profiles of the candidates, Nigerians should focus on what the issues are. Let the parties sort out their party issues.
But if you even look at it, you know, because I mean, we've also had some Nigerians who are concerned about the issues that you have raised. And if you look at it, nobody seemed to be saying anything about the blueprint. When we're talking about a blueprint, it's not just a statement that's been made. You hear some presidential aspirants saying we're going to, you know, turn the country around, make it to compete with the likes of Japan and what have you. These are just statements. There's no, you know, how you want to address all of these issues and how do the people even get to that point. But that's on the one hand. But let's also look at the issue of, because it is at the party level that we get to, you know, the larger level. And this is very fundamental to our democratic process. And so if they don't get it right, then it means the entire process might just be, you know, truncated. So with the pattern now, right now, INEC also stipulated time where these parties should be able to say, this is the pattern, this is the mode we're going to adopt.
Yeah.
For instance, the presidential, primaries is going to be here for some of these political parties. And the APC is still not decided. We hear they are, going off the issue of consensus. I might just be delving into...
the electoral act doesn't...
Yes, and so the issue of indirect primaries and
direct primaries. Yes.
Direct primaries.
Yes.
And so what do you make of this, and what do you think it will play out, for the APC? Do you see crisis? Do you see people decamping shortly after all of this, or even in the midst of all of this?
No, people have even already started defecting. So it's not... Politics is a game of interest. So politicians are always on the move to places where they feel their interests will be better taken care of. But I respectfully disagree with you that there have been just statements. Because some of these aspirants have come out to draw up clear... for instance, Peter Obi has told us that if he becomes president, he will have a special vote for hunger, to take care of hunger. And he has stated how he intends to do it. Tinubu has said in terms of security, we need to boost the numbers of people of those in the armed forces. We need to boost their numbers. We need to get more Nigerians into the security services so that they can effectively police and secure the nation and its borders. Then you go on to somebody like, you go on to the other aspirants here and there. You go on to Yaya Bello. He tells you that, okay, fine, that the problem here is that, one, Nigeria has no need borrowing. That if we manage our resources very well, we don't need to borrow.
So yes. For me, the reason I'm saying this is okay, because this is a statement. Have we, have they been able to, we know that the time for campaign has not started,
yes.
But have we seen this aspirant putting out this document, answering the how? So if you say that...
Of course, they made their...
Then you begin to put, okay,
yes.
This is how we intend to recruit.
Yes.
This is what we need to do.
Yes.
This is how. Because it's not just a statement. Then make this statement. Oh,
yes.
We're going to do this. We understand the problem. It's because we don't have personnel.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you see what happens. We have president who came in 2015. It worries everybody. It bothers not just, the ruled, but the ruling class. Everyone is part of all of the issues that we're faced with at the time. Security, economy, and corruption. How far have we fared? These things were actually said.
Yeah.
It felt like it was written down.
Yeah,
but we haven't seen the how, that was put to answer them.
You see, the problem is this. Part of why we're here today is that President Muhammad Buhari came in on an adversarial note. Okay, 16 years of PDP have been a waste. All right, I won't do what PDP has been doing. Instead of looking at government as a continuum and following up on policy, if there were policies that were not well thought out or well executed, you could have tweaked them and made them better. Yeah. You had a policy like You Win, for instance, which was meant to produce young entrepreneurs, women, young youths. But what happened? It was jettisoned.
For Empower.
Empower. Where have we gone with Empower? When Jonathan was here, we had Shopee. It got mired in controversy, and that was the end of it. We didn't know where the funds went to. So part of the problem is the adversarial nature of politics we play in Nigeria. My predecessors were all useless. My predecessors destroyed the country. My predecessors destroyed the state. My predecessors did nothing. But you ride on the roads they tarred. You have an office you report to as the president or the governor, which was maintained by a predecessor. If there was nothing, if they did nothing, so how come you have an office you go to every day? You have a government house you sleep in every night. You see, the point is we must make our system a policy-driven system. There must be clear-cut policies. And then Nigerians must ask the right kinds of questions from these people. But you see, that's what I'm talking about. Right now, we are mad in the debate over the cost of funds. Mm-hmm. Instead of asking, like my colleague has said, give us your blueprints. They've brought out all these statements, like she said. But you can see, too, if you go through the declarations, they contain action plans about what they intend to do. But you see, we also, as citizens, it's our civic duty to make sure that we look at the declarations and say, okay, be more clear, give us more clarity on how you intend to do this and do this and do this.
But don't you think that this, the sum itself, because I understand the fact that you're saying let's not be carried away, by the forms, I mean the amount
cost
of
the forms,
cost
yes.
of the forms.
Yes.
But let's also pay attention to, these individuals, their capacity to perform and their policies on ground. But don't you think that this also would influence their behavior? For instance, we remember a time, I would make reference to 2014. The president had complained about 27.5 million naira, if I'm not mistaken, and that it was so much, and that he had to take bank loans. So imagine someone who does not have, I don't know if all of them, have the capacity to cough out and trunk out 100 million. It might not be so much. But don't you think there's already a mindset that might just think that if you have people coming together to support you to get this, then the policies at the end of the day will be reflecting the interests of this sect of persons. You might just be doing the bidding, or you might more be concerned about how to recoup your funds because it's like a business transaction.
Well,
so don't you think that these
like I said,
kind of politics
like I said earlier,
policies?
like I said earlier, politics in Nigeria has come to be seen as a lucrative investment. That's one side. But the other side is that the conversation, Nigerians must get to the conversation where we have to decide what's best for us, what's most workable for us. We started out this country in 1960 with a parliamentary system of government where you elect MPs. The MPs now choose the prime minister. But by 1979, we opted for the presidential system of government, which is the most expensive. It's a very expensive system of government. It's not cheap anywhere to operate it.
So let's even talk about that, because you mentioned that when we were having a pre-chat just before we got on air. So the system of government that we are running, is it actually a bane to us right now as it is? Because you were saying that the parliamentary system was way much cheaper compared to the presidential system that we operate right now. Are we supposed to be going back to the parliamentary system, or just what exactly?
Well, it's for all Nigerians to decide. 215 million people. It's for us to decide. We are having a constitution amendment exercise right now. If we can accommodate it, fine. If not, we should prepare for future constitution amendments so that we make sure that we get on board those platforms that will advance the collective interest. Not just saying, oh, cost of forms is expensive, but you want a system whereby, that promotes winner takes all. Oh, it's my brother. It's our turn. It's the turn of our area. Because we talk about forms, but the same people talking about forms will tell you, no. It's the turn of our area. It's the turn of our son, of our daughter to get into office. What do we really want?
But you see, if we also look at it recently, you remember the statement from Afe Babalola, who talked about the fact that we should suspend, the 2023 elections and get an interim government. Now, one of the concerns he raised was transactional, because we cannot afford to continue in this recycling old people and then get into the transactional government that we're going through. As much as a lot of people have debunked, my concern here is because the money back politics, as we have described it over time, don't you think it has affected how the policies, if you see the policies, at the end of the day, they really don't reflect the interest of the people? And don't you think that it's this kind of transactional, you have mentioned it, that is business? And so if people see it as business, then what policies do you come through with that would reflect the interest of the people, that would serve the interest of Nigeria?
No, let me correct something. I'm not saying, I said politicians, not all of them, see it as a lucrative venture. Not all of them. But you see, even if the forms are expensive, it doesn't stop you from performing. It doesn't stop you from bringing up policies.
It might not even give you the chance of even getting there to even talk of performing as well.
Why won't you then it's up to the people. You have 18 political parties. If you feel that, okay, fine, APC, they are charging 100 million naira for forms. We won't vote for their candidates because their forms are too high. You have other parties, vote for their candidates. So that the conversation is not just about just talking points. Okay, your forms are too high, it's about money back politics, it's about this, that, and the other. You have a wide choice. Nigerians should exercise their rights to elect their leaders. It is a given for us. It's a given for people in a constitutional democracy. Exercise your right. Come out on election day, you see people playing football. People sit at home, they want to watch what's going on TV. Instead of going out to go and cast their votes, and at the end of the day, they say the government is not working. We are also a part of the democratic process. We must come out and say, okay, these are the things we want. And you mentioned something about old people. Yes, Nigerians have expressed concern about old people. Then you see young people coming up and saying, okay, look at me. This is one is a governor. He says, look at me, I've done something in my state. Then you have some other young people here and there. Why are people not looking at them? Already you have support groups. One of the aspirants, it was actually some support groups led by youths that bought his form for him. That was youths. Those are the youths you're talking about that are being shut out. Okay, fine, you have youths coming in APC, in other parties. Why are we not looking at those youths? Because we need to move away. The next president must be somebody who has capacity to perform, who is healthy, strong, and who is competent. We must move away from all these issues. Yes.
Thank you so much. We are going to just, press pause on this particular topic for sake of time. Emeka Madunago is a journalist. He is also the publisher of Metro Star newspapers. He is a political affairs analyst as well. He joined us now to look at all of the issues, the fallout from the APC National Executive Committee and the nomination forms and the way forward, for the youth and, of course, politics and elections in Nigeria. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much.
All right, it's still the breakfast. We'll take a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll be focusing on insecurity in a moment. Stay with us.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
The suspect equally confessed.
A 500 naira they collect am. If you no talk, dem go beat you. Na 2,500 they pay.
Businesses in Africa can be very challenging. In Nigeria, it is particularly intimidating, and successful builders have learned how to navigate a hostile environment to unlock opportunities. But one major challenge businesses face is how to filter through the noise and identify where their ideal customers exist. Get insight and practical steps from industry players and captains of industries. Hear success stories to help you make informed decisions as you scale your business in Nigeria. Watch Business Insights at this time on PlusTvAfrica. Welcome back on the breakfast. Security right now is our main focus. In a simultaneous attack on 3 communities in Malumfashi local government area of Katsina State on Wednesday morning, gunmen killed 3 people, including a councillor, Nasir Magaji. The resident of the communities also claimed that the gunmen abducted several people, including 2 women, during the attacks on Dudsin Reme low cost in Funtua, Gozaki village in the Kafur and Danremi community of Malumfashi local government area. Now, Abdurrahman Ali, a resident of Dudsin Reme, who spoke on the phone to newsmen, said the gunmen, locally called bandits, attacked after midnight and began shooting sporadically. Well, we have a member of the community who wants to remain anonymous. He's joining us via phone call to bring us up to speed as per what happened in his community. Good morning to you. Thanks for joining us on the breakfast. Good morning to you. Can you hear us? All right, we'll try and re-establish contact as soon as we can. So it is actually a very terrible, harrowing experience, and it's just so sad. But I think he is back online. Good morning to you. All right, we'll take a break and try and establish contact with him in a moment. Stay with us.
This is it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Booking November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on PlusTvAfrica.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Welcome back. We apologize for that slight hitch that we had earlier. We have him now back on the line. Thanks for staying with us. Can you bring us up to speed as regards what happened in your community?
Okay. I come from Bako local government, southern state of Nigeria, northern Nigeria. I live in Bako local government in Locust, this area. Bakori, I run the Nkwani Road. Last 2 days ago, in the night, before 10, this bandit come to my area to shoot some innocent people. One person getting to 6 feet above yes, and the young children, Usman Ibrahim, was killed, getting to 15 years old. At that time, the security commandant, area commander of police, which living in Puntua, come with the APC vehicle to face the bandit to exchanging fire between bandit and the police. I myself, I survived being killed by one of the bandits. The bandit, they killed the one person behind my shop. This is the situation whereby people facing in my area.
Let me try and understand exactly what's going on in that particular community. Is it the first time, or have you been experiencing several invasion and attacks, by these bandits? And so far, what has been done concerning that, as in the community front, or maybe with the police, just to stem all of these issues?
Okay, the problem here is that the people of that area were a coward, very coward. While the bandits, they are cowards. Okay. So we come with a big gunshot. While people of that area would not have any kind of this good shot. That is the reason why.
All right, so can you tell us what government response has been in all of this? Is there any government intervention? Do you have the police swinging into action? Have there been any efforts to arrest or, secure the area quickly?
The government is performing very well. They send us police and the army.
All right, thank you so much. Thanks for sharing insight on what's going on in your community. We'll follow up and on that particular issue, and we just hope that the residents, may be able to find peace and succor sometime soon, so they can actually get to their, normal lives and their businesses. Thank you yet again for joining us this morning. All right, it's still The Breakfast on Plus TV Africa. We'll talk sports in just a minute, and Manchester United is in the news. Coincidentally, they have a new coach, and we'll talk about the future of the club shortly. Stay with us.
Nigeria's Niger Delta region, from where the black gold fuels Africa's largest economy, where the lines between wealth and poverty has never been thinner. Conflicts, poverty, insecurity, and environmental challenges daily confront the region. How can the Niger Delta story be changed for the better?
Join Mamude Akuga at 9 p.m. every Friday evening on Plus TV Africa as he probes deep in search of solutions.
Inside the Niger Delta with Mamude Akuga, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region.
It's The Breakfast and Plus TV Africa, and straight to our next conversation where we look at Manchester United signing a new manager. Monday Thomas, you join us this morning. It's good to have you on the show, and he's a sports journalist.
Good morning. Once again, it's great to be here. I'm always excited when it's weekend, when we are going to see some top-flight football. Manchester United tomorrow against Arsenal, but the biggest news is Erik ten Hag joining them on a 3-year contract with an option to extend to the 4th year. I can't wait to get on with it.
Okay, so it's more like a coincidence that we're talking about Manchester United signing a new manager, Erik ten, at the time where today in history, David Moyes was also sacked and he got replaced. And so what's the future of the club? We saw the last game with Liverpool, and we could actually, hear the coach saying they don't have better players. You see that the reason for all of that is that they don't have good players to match up the energy of Liverpool. So having this new manager now, what do you think would become of the club? Do you see them making progress in becoming a better team?
All right, Manchester United fans all over the world are still... Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can. Go ahead.
Can I go ahead? All right, so Manchester United fans all over the world are still basking in absolute euphoria because of the signing of the new manager, and it's quite understandable because with Erik ten Hag, what are you to expect from Manchester United? I guarantee you it's going to be free-flowing football. It's going to be purpose-driven football. It's going to be attractive. And it's going to be, of course, capping it off with trophies as of course, tell Manchester United fans not to expect things so soon. You talked about the players not being good enough for other coaches to execute their plans. Erik ten Hag did not have too many good players in Ajax Amsterdam. He just needed to build a foundation. It's quite unfortunate in Manchester United, they don't have a foundation. Alex Ferguson did not lay a very good foundation, although things were working for him. When I'm talking about foundation, I'm talking about a style of play for a particular club. It's quite a shame Manchester United, as great as they are, they do not have it. In Ajax Amsterdam, before Erik ten Hag, there was a Johan Cruyff. Johan Cruyff brought a different level of football, some foundation in Barcelona. And if I take you back in time, Erik ten Hag was a Pep Guardiola in Bayern Munich. So this man understands kind of football, and that's why it's working at Ajax Amsterdam. It's working at all levels. But you have to also Eredivisie. That is a Eredivisie in the Dutchland. It is not the English Premier League. The English Premier League is a very feisty place, very competitive, and you get to see quality football at its peak. So I'm going to tell Manchester United to expect free-flowing football, attacking, purpose-driven, capping up with trophies so soon. The 3-year contract is not enough. Manchester United fans should not expect anything in the next season, in the upper season, even in the third season where his contract is supposed to expire. Maybe they should start expecting the fourth season, because it's not going to be so easy for Erik ten Hag to instill the philosophy, his own philosophy right there for Manchester, because they have in quote name players. Paul Pogba, big name player. I mean, Paul Pogba, if we go in 2017, it was a reason Jose Mourinho was fired. Cristiano Ronaldo, big name players, Harry Maguire. So the club sometimes have conflict. Who should they support in time of crisis? Should they go with the coach, or should they go with the players? So it's going to take time for Erik ten Hag to instill a philosophy of his own style of play, for Manchester United to be able to do great exploits as they are expecting from the new manager. It's going to be great football for them, but they need to be patient.
All right, Monday. A lot of people have been setting an agenda for the new helmsman at Manchester United. Specifically, Liverpool legend Jamie Carragher has asked him to sign or to sack 2 or 3, team members who are actually causing trouble for that particular club. How do you react to that?
I think it's spot on, because people are already leaving. I think some days ago, the 2 chief scouts of Manchester United said goodbyes. I mean, I think things are beginning to unfold because of the recruitment policy, the recruitment skills is not really up to par. Because how can you sign a player 80 million pounds? I'm not saying Harry Maguire is such a very bad player, but it's not that big of a player to play for Manchester United. In quote, big club, a cultured club that way, of course, known for their trophy-winning exploits. But now they just get to sign players because of the name they make, because of maybe a one-season city, and that's why they got signed. So I'll go with the big names, Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville, who are always criticizing Manchester United, and also talking about Roy Keane. A big player for Manchester United way back, is also criticizing. I think a lot of things needs to be done. The board of trustees of Manchester United need to give Erik ten Hag the complete empowerment to make decisions. Because if you go back in that particular administration, the coaches do not have complete authority.
So, but also, just like you have mentioned, with the style of play that Erik ten Hag might just come with, he would require a lot of intensity and discipline. And some persons have said that some players will not actually offer that to him. And so that might also be a problem. The likes of Pogba, and you also have Rashford not having all of that amongst others. What do you think of this?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I said. The big players are going to be a problem to Erik ten Hag. But if they can just listen, if they can just try to give him the benefit of the doubt because of how great he was in Ajax Amsterdam. 210 games for Ajax since 2017, 156 wins. That's almost 70%. So this man, with his antecedent, he is capable of doing magic at the of dreams. So they just need to Listen to him. He's a young manager, but he can do wonders.
That's all right. Well, that's so much we can take at this point in time. We do appreciate you, Thomas, Monday Thomas, for being part of the show.
All right. Thank you so much for having me again on this platform. It's always a pleasure.
All right, Monday Thomas is a sports journalist, and we have been talking about the signing of Eric Ten as the new manager for Manchester United. Let's see how the club fares, and that's the size of our conversation this morning. If you missed out on any part of it, it's all right to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and do subscribe to our YouTube channel with PlusTvAfrica, PlusTvAfrica Lifestyle. Many thanks for watching. I am Messi Popo. Have a fantastic Friday.
And I'm Justin Akadonyo. We'll see you again on Monday, top of the hour, 7 a.m. Bye for now.
Life can be fun and rewarding, but it also comes with some risk. As in business, you win some, you lose some. And that's why you need to be wise in the choices you make. It's like placing a bet. Again, you need to be wise. Wise in choosing an innovative platform with the highest market options and highest odds ever. That's why Winners Golden Bet, the leader in online, in-shop, virtual, and live sports betting, gives you enhanced platforms that offer you the best chances of winning. For betting on live soccer matches, live dog races, and virtual games. Winners Golden Bet is your best bet. Instant payment of winnings guaranteed. Play online or in any of our numerous shops nearest to you.
Hey guys, be wise. Play on Winners Golden Bet.
Winners Golden Bet, the wise choice.
It is engagement we need to have.
Those who suffer miscarriages are never taken into account.
Members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers.
You are sitting on Nigerians' money.
From the Babin, I pay my rent. On the Babin, I send my children to school.
A consultative engagement.
No any tangible notification before they ban us.
It's one thing for people to be at your back and the heat of the moment, and another thing for them to still be with you when push comes to shove.
I will do everything to take Lagos out of the national grid.
How can we have peace without justice?
Plus Politics. It's not just another political conversation, it's about keeping you in the know. The relevant interviews, asking the tough questions to those that matter. Get the answers you need. Does it mean that the people who were injured, people who were shot at, those who were involved in that stampede are not going to get justice?
It is unfortunate, it is sad that we have a government of deaf and dumb.
Analysis from top experts.
The last election was not really an election.
We feel that Obasanjo has a very special place in his heart for hating Ijaw people.
I think it really boils down to two things. One, trust and accountability.
Plus Politics, every weeknight at 7 p.m. on Plus TV Africa.
Good morning, I am Jacinta Obiuko. This is the news brief. President Muhammadu Buhari has once again issued fresh directives to security agencies to rescue all those in captivity across the country and advance the acquisition of intelligence. The National Security Advisor Babagana Munguno told a State House correspondent after the National Security Council meeting that the president is not happy with the prevailing security situation. According to him, the last straw was the recent attack on the Abuja-Kaduna train, leading to the killing of some passengers and kidnapping of scores. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo has disclosed that amid growing insecurity in the country, the creation of state police would be a better option than community policing. Obasanjo made this disclosure when the leadership of the National Association of Ex-Local Government Chairmen in Nigeria paid him a courtesy visit in Abeokuta on Wednesday. Obasanjo, who commended the initiative behind the formation of the body, said that the development clearly showed that some local chairmen in the country were better than ever the top elected leaders. Terrorists have killed 17 people in attacks on Gaidan local government area of Yobe State. Around 24 fighters dressed in military-like uniforms and believed to be from ISWAP group sneaked on foot into Gaydam town late yesterday. They rounded up 9 people in a bar and slaughtered them, some with their hands tied behind their back. They killed 9 people, including 2 women and police officer. We'll go for a short break now.
This is it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Bookie November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on PlusTvAfrica.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Six persons have been confirmed dead with an unspecified number injured following a bomb explosion that rocked a drinking bar in Mashaya Market, Iwara community of Taraba State. The blast occurred on Tuesday. A visit to the scene of the incident revealed blood stains on the floor and a chartered local drinking joint. The anti-bomb squad of the Nigerian police force was also on the ground covering the area for a possible bomb detonation. Meanwhile, jihadists affiliated to the Islamic State have claimed responsibility for the attack. The Special Task Force Operation Safe Haven in Jos has handed over 500 illicit small arms and light weapons to the National Center for the Control of Small Arms and Light Weapons.
Of the operation have maintained an offensive posture leading to the recovery of a large number of weapons.
Have also remained resolute to checkmate all forms of crimes. As it stands today, troops have maintained an offensive posture, conducting several kinetic operations in the form of raid operations on criminal hideouts, rescue operations, cordon and search, stop and search, as well as patrols, amongst others. These have led to huge recovery of illegal weapons, drugs, and stolen vehicles used by the criminal elements.
The commander also used the occasion to dispel rumors that he is taking sides in the crisis-rocking Bassa local government of the state, calling such allegations unfounded and mischievous.
Contrary to this falsehood, it is pertinent to note that as a member of the armed forces, I have sworn my allegiance to defend the country and protect the lives and properties of all citizens, devoid of any ethnic, religious, or pecuniary sentiments. I have always emphasized my stand to be fair, just, and treat all equally.
The North Central Chairman of the National Center for the Control of Small Arms and Light Weapons, Major General Hamza Bature, retired. While receiving the weapons, commended the troops of the task force and charged them to make sure illicit arms are mopped up before the 2023 elections.
We also want to encourage you to step up the tide so that we'll be able to recover all illicit arms in the society so that we can have illicit arms-free society.
The weapons consist of 40 automatic weapons and 477 locally fabricated firearms.
The IGP Osman Baba Al-Khali has warned against attacks on police officers and facilities in the country, especially in the southeast region, saying such would no longer be tolerated by the force. He lamented the destruction of the facilities, other police operational assets across the country, and the killing of officers. He had also ordered the deployment of additional assets to support the fight against the criminals. Consolidating on the partnership with other navies around the world is top on the agenda of the Nigerian Navy. Chief Staff Officer, Western Naval Command, Rear Admiral Hamza Kauje gave this indication while hosting the Chief of the Atlantic French Naval Forces. Destiny Momo reports.
Another milestone in the bilateral relationship between Nigeria and France. The Nigerian Navy and Atlantic French Naval Forces are using their connecting point, the Atlantic Ocean, to strengthen their collaboration towards sanitizing the hydrographic domain, especially the Gulf of Guinea. Their common objectives of ending piracy, trafficking, pollution, and securing maritime space took prominence in their discussions. Chief Staff Officer, Western Naval Command, Rear Admiral Hamza Kauje, who recalled the long-standing relationship between the two forces, requested that Nigeria be made a vessel spare parts hub in the region, as many Nigerian Navy vessels are from France. These, he said, will contribute to the nation's economy, address the issue of delay in repairing vessels, which will in turn foster the fight against maritime crimes.
Navies everywhere in the world have some know-how about to tackle with the IUU fishing. And so the objective for us is to share this know-how and to contribute to foster the capability of the local navies, thanks to this cooperation and sharing of know-how, in order to improve the possibility to counter the IUU fishing. That, I think, is really the main course of action we have in the end today, a better cooperation.
Illegal, unreported and unregulated fishing is a threat to maritime security and needs a holistic approach to be checked.
Nigerian Navy, under the able leadership of Vice Admiral Awal Zubairu Gambo, have just launched an operation called Operation Dakata Labarao. Literal meaning, please, literal meaning is stopping the thief. You are all aware that over some times now, we have had a lot of crude oil theft. Nigerian Navy has deployed over 26 vessels. When I say vessels, I mean different categories of vessels to the south-south, Niger Delta now, and there is this operation, Dr. Barao, is ongoing.
The collaboration is expected to secure the maritime space, not only in Nigeria, but the continent at large. Destiny Momo, Plus TV News.
INEC yesterday maintained that the 2023 general elections will be held despite the security challenges in the country. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmoud Yakubu stated this in Abuja at a public presentation of the 2022 to 2026 strategic plan and the 2023 election project plan. Yakubu explained that the documents presented were the third in the series of strategic election plans since the era of deliberate planning of elections started in 2012. According to him, the 2023 poll will be governed by the new Electoral Act, which contains provisions that will enhance the capacity of the Commission to better manage the electoral process. He pledged to ensure the safety of electoral personnel and materials, accredited observers, media practitioners and voters. He then called for the support of all Nigerians to successfully conduct the polls. It was a horrific night on the 28th of March for passengers traveling in a train from Abuja to Kaduna when bandits attacked and killed some of them and kidnapped hundreds. One of those whose life was cut short was a 29-year-old dental Dr. Chinelo Nwando Megafo. Dr. Chinelo was the face of the train attack because of her bravery. She tweeted the catastrophic moment and it's generated reactions from Nigerians and around the world. Our correspondent Paul George has more.
It was a solemn moment as family, friends and well-wishers from
The case of allegedly gold dredging at a Legacy community in the Bijulechi area of Lagos has taken another dimension. PlusTvAfrica had earlier reported that members of the community led by the Odofed of Ibeju land staged a protest accusing Daily Motors of operating illegally. However, the Baale of the community, Chief Lamidi Amusa Ajoro, has refuted the claim. Justina Kadonye tells us more.
Members of Legacy community are vividly angry about developments in the area, appealing to the government for help. They are accusing Daily Motors Limited of dredging on their land without a quarry lease agreement.
Minister for Mines has called us down to Abuja. We narrated everything to him. And even Minister himself knows what is going.
The Minister of Cadastral and Mining addressed us. And they asked him to show his cadastral consent, which he did. And the community leader and the chiefs find out the cadastral is fraud.
We catch up with the CEO of Daily Motors Limited, Okudili Umenyora, who provides documentary records of his agreement duly signed by the Baale of the community and other documentation from the Ministry of Mines and Steel. He explains the bone of contention.
So once the demarcation was done, they found out that they're not supposed to be dredging on my title because basically the area in which that title was domiciled was different from the area in which they were dredging. Well, the situation of things as we speak is the Baale of the land who signed the consent for me wants me to go ahead and continue my work like normal. But the other operators, illegal operators, they've now sent different tactics and thugs to go ahead and stop my mining operation.
As we seek answers, our investigation leads us to the Baale's compound. The aged leader tells his own side of the story. The villagers also allege that Umenyora used thugs to make life unbearable for them. However, the dredger retorts that he only used law enforcement to protect his investment.
There's complaint here and there. People, there's no rest of mine in Lagasa again.
I was just using enforcement and law to try and stop the illegal operators that were mining on my title, which is within the law. And every time I try and use enforcement and law to stop those illegal operators from operating on my title, then the other part of the villagers, the other side of the villagers, they now come to attack us.
Dili Umenyora wonders why the community would just wake up one day to foment trouble when he has been operating there since 2019. He speaks of plans to pursue the issue to its logical conclusion by involving the local and state governments as well as other legal options. Meanwhile, some community members are unrelenting. This time around, they converge on the Bales compound in protest. Justin Akadonye, PlusTV News, Lagos.
Other parts of Africa, Kenya has announced that it will host a meeting between rebels in the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo and the government in Kinshasa. The announcement was made after a meeting of leaders from Kenya, Uganda, Burundi, Rwanda, and the DRC that met in Nairobi to discuss violence by armed groups in the DRC and to establish a regional force to neutralize armed groups in the region. According to Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta, the meeting takes place after the DRC joined the community of East African states at the end of March. Outside Africa now, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has said that his war-ravaged country needed more heavy weapons to defend itself from Russian invasion that threatened its very survival and asked Western nations to impose further sanctions. Speaking in a video addressed to the Portuguese parliament, he accused the Russian army of committing many atrocities in Ukraine, including the port city of Mariupol, and asked Portugal to support a global embargo on Russian oil. He did not provide concrete evidence of the atrocities during the speech. Rescue workers have retrieved the bodies of Mariupol's dead as Russian President Vladimir Putin declared the port city of Mariupol liberated after nearly 2 months of siege. However, hundreds of fighters and civilians were still holed up inside the huge steelworks, and Ukraine said Putin wanted to avoid a final clash with its forces in the city as he lacked the troops to defeat them. Footage from the devastated port city showed bodies being collected by men in white hazmat suits and being placed into the back of vehicles marked with the letter Z. In business news now, Brent, the global benchmark for crude oil, has risen marginally in price as the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries projected that the demand growth for oil would continue this year. Industry figures showed that Brent moved up by $0.77 or 0.72% to $107.57 barrel at about 7:13 p.m. Nigerian time. It had traded around 106.8 barrel the preceding day. In its statement to the International Monetary and Financial Committee meeting of ministers and governors of April 2022 and released on Thursday, OPEC stated that oil prices had been on the rise, particularly in March this year. On entertainment news now, UK singer Tom Greener's manager is recovering from an unprovoked attack which has left him with injuries including a torn eardrum. The 26-year-old is said to have been attacked and robbed outside a bar in Manhattan after last performance in New York. His manager, who made the announcement, said that the singer has been forced to postpone his gig in Washington, D.C. as a result. And in sports news now, it took Stefanos Tsitsipas 3 sets and a span of 2 days in a weather-delayed second-round match to get past Lear Ivashka and reach the third round of the Barcelona Open on Thursday. Just about every other match was postponed, but after the Greek and Belarusian were told at 5-1 in the first set that their match would be finished Thursday, they managed to finish just about 24 hours after their original start time. Tsitsipas created 15 break-point opportunities, but he only needed to convert 4 of them to beat Ivashak, who managed to convert just 1 of 3 opportunities he created. That's the news brief. For more stories, please follow us at PlusTvAfrica on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And just subscribe to our YouTube channel at PlusTvAfrica and Plus TV Africa Lifestyle. I am Jacinta Obiugo. Thanks for watching.